Hello friends, in this particular video we'll talk about performance tuning. So let's say a SSRS report is taking very long time, then what we will do? First thing we will do is we'll go to the server in which the report server database is present. So here we have came to this particular server because our report server database is present here. So we will find report server here and report server temdb here. So report server temdb are temdb is used for those purposes where temporary data storage is required. Now what we will do is we will go to report server and go to view, and there we will find that we have execution log 2 and execution log 3. Execution log 3 is of our interest because that is the latest version. So execute a select query on this and see we are getting the instance name, item path, username, execution ID, etc. But we are interested in these three columns. So time taken in data retrieval, data processing, and data rendering. Data retrieval time is the time taken to execute the queries which SSRS report has. It hits to the database, executes the query, and gets the data from there. So that process is called data retrieval. So how much time taken in data retrieval, that this particular column shows. Then the next column is data processing. Data processing is the time taken in processing if our report has any grouping, sorting, so this kind of thing, or interactive sorting. So this kind of thing, if processed, then time taken is in processing those things is comes under time processing. Now time rendering. So if our report has expressions, then SSRS report takes some time in evaluating those expressions. So time taken in evaluating the expressions is called time in rendering. So from here we will come to know that which particular step has taken very long time. So if time rendering is very high, that means our report has so many expressions, we need to reduce the expressions as much as possible. Second is time processing. If time processing is taking very long time, then what we need to do, we need to move the grouping or the sorting or interactive sorting. So these kind of operations we need to move to the query part. Okay, and if data retrieval time is very high, that means we need to optimize our query. So to optimize our query, there are so many processes, so many things we can add. Indexes maybe cluster index, non-cluster index. If there is any order by operation is happening, then we in the non-cluster index we need to specify those columns in the same order. Then the join that are happening, or if there is any where clause, then in the both side of the operator, whether we have the similar data type or not. If similar data type is not present, then what we can do is we can explicitly convert the columns to make the data type equal in make the data type same in both the sides. Again, in the cluster index or non-cluster index, we need to try to means in case of, especially in case of cluster index, so we need to try to make use of integer columns. Integer columns are best because the size, the disk space taken by integer columns are very less, and there are so forth. So we can use CTEs, or if there are multiple operations, then we can use temporary variable instead of temporary table, means table variable instead of temporary table, or and there are so many so forth. If query is very long, then we can create stored procedure, because stored procedures become faster. So those kind of things, those kinds of query optimization, SQL Server query optimization kind of thing we can do. Now let's come to the report side. So in any SSRS report, for the maintenance perspective, always it is a better thing to use a shared data source, and if possible shared data set, because in future if we need to make any change, in the let's say the server IP got changed or server has been migrated. In those cases, we need to make any change. Then it managing and maintenance becomes very easy if we use shared data source in all our reports, because changing in one place will that if we change in one place, that change will be reflected in all the reports. Otherwise, we need to manually go to each report and make the change. Excuse me. Now, now always we need to try to use a common template, because that makes the managing of the reports easier. Now the next thing is, if, as I said, that if there is any grouping or sorting, interactive sorting, etc., this kind of operations, or if we are using so many expressions, then what we can do is we can move those things in the query itself. And there are some other tricks as well. For example, the total number of pages, if we go to expression, and in the built-in field we have total pages. So if we use this particular variable, sometimes it reduces the performance. So better we need to try to avoid this particular variable. And pagination is very important thing. So if we have a long data set, and if we are showing that data, then let's say here we have such a long report. So instead of showing such a long report at once, we can use page break. So page break actually adds pagination in the report, and that actually improves the performance. So these are various steps which we can take to improve the performance of the SSRS report. Thank you very much for watching this video.